I'm like, this
Sriguru,
is
if you could just
suicidal.
give us,
This
this
is
because this
suicide.
is for the benefit of our viewers who may not be as advanced in their understanding of some of our practices, but are curious nonetheless. Just a couple of
Yeah.
examples, or one or two examples of the benefits of rituals.
Let me give the simplest example. Let me give the simplest example.
Yes.
Lighting diya. We all light diya. Yes? Okay. Do you know what lighting diya does? Lighting diya works with the Panchatattvas:
Okay.
earth, water, fire, air, akasha. All five of them are simultaneously activated if with consciousness you light a diya and you have some yogic strength in you, yoga shakti in you, you can immediately see the difference in the atmosphere of a room when you light a diya, because the diya is usually
Earth.
metal or it is clay, something that's earth. Then there is the oil or the ghee, which is the water component of
Yes.
it. The air is anyways there,
Fire.
and then you light the flame. So every time you light a diya, you are working with the pancha tattvas. Akasha is the transcendent tattva. If you have any shakti in you, if you have any spiritual experience in you, the minute you light a diya, there is a explosion of akasha tattva into your environment. Akasha tattva is the primary materia, the prima materia.
Akash.
All things are created from akasha tattva. So it gives a quality of creativity, and it gives a quality of manifestation. Now I get up, the first thing I do is I light the diya. First thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a bath first, of course, but the first thing, the first action I do in the day, the first conscious action I
Yes.
do in the day is the diya, because just that simple act of lighting the flame, that when that flame enkindles, if you're in yoga, you begin to understand the importance of fire. You begin to, so you may think
हाँ
that
बस
it
यही
is
तो है
just
हाँ
kya hai, after all it
exactly.
is a diya only. Yeah, but if you are doing everything consciously, if you're doing everything with full awareness, similarly, all these things, from my understanding, all pujas have been codified very, very carefully. If you want to worship a particular devta, you need particular ingredient, you need particular flour, you need particular offering of whatever liquid it is.
Yes.
Even the oil is different. You can't even offer, so all these things have been worked out, experimented on, results. So you have to take it on trust for a while until you start experiencing it yourself. You have to believe that I wouldn't lie, our rishis wouldn't lie, the people writing these things wouldn't lie, and they say do the puja in this way, do the ritual in this way, do the chant in this way, because it is a tried and tested methodology. So you have to
Yes.
have that shraddha to begin with. The problem is we have no shraddha at all. Again, because our educational system has taught us to look with suspicion upon all things labeled tradition. All people who are spiritual, oh, they are wasting life. All this is for after retirement. I'm like, after retirement, you won't
True.
have the strength to do any of this. And you're half senile anyway. So, like, so rituals, rituals can be understood only with practice. But to practice, you must have, see, this whole thing of rituals are expensive and wasting money is fundamentally
Absolutely.
an atheist argument. It is an atheist argument. So you have to say, no, we believe, for us God is real, but you don't. And it's not like, there was a very famous tantric debate about 1,000 years back, where they debated whether mantra is more powerful or devta was more powerful. And they came to the conclusion that we are not sure if devas exist, but we are very sure that mantras exist because they work. Now, that is the
With
level of
which, yeah.
honesty and integrity that which they function. Like mantra japa is so codified, and fortunately, it is still such a surviving practice that it works very brilliantly. So again, when I hear people say this, I'm like, Nastik.
Correct.
Fundamentally, you're a Nastik. Yeah, and why? Why should you not offer the best to your Devata? The argument that only the cheapest and worst things should be offered to your Devata is such a poverty consciousness argument. And it is such an immoral argument. Why should, in South India, you and I are both South Indians, we had like, when we go to the temple, we should wear our best
Yes,
clothes, wear
yes,
silk,
yes.
and like, yeah, yeah, so there is a certain quality of
Mm.
abundance that is associated with spirituality, which has been lost in India because of our history and
I know.
the kind of assaults on us. So now spirituality is like a bhuka nanga fatyal
Ah,
kangal
yes.
type of practice,
Yes.
and that is wrong. So I push back against that very fiercely,
See,
saying that abundance is vital.
there's also a kind of I don't know if I'm stepping into or opening a Pandora's box, but even among the so-called urban Hindus, there is a
Hmm.
gravitation towards Buddhism. For example, a lot of people are becoming Buddhists because they
Because Buddhism has not been demonized like
so that's the
Hinduism
thing.
has
So
been
because people
demonized. I've seen that. I've seen that. I used to teach meditation to one very prominent family in Bombay, and they were all Buddhists, but they still wanted to learn. And so I went to one of the, and all the people there were all so happy that they no longer have to be associated with the Hindus, and they don't know the history of Buddhism. They don't know what all Buddhism
correct.
did or how Buddhism, they don't understand anything, and the sort of subtle
Yes.
condescension and subtle, yeah, again,
Mm.
ignorance. The root of all this is ignorance. Ignorance both of your original religion and the religion you're converting to. Like, there was a Tibetan Lama there, and he said something I wish he
Mm-hmm.
hadn't. And he just said there is a story that some people came to Kailasa and they saw Shiva and they saw Buddha, and they asked Shiva, who should we learn from? Should we learn
Mm-hmm.
from you or should we
Him.
learn from him? And he said, no, you learn from
Acha.
him only. And so they were using that as an argument, like, the Hinduism is the inferior religion.
Because Shiva
And I
himself
said,
said.
I've also heard that story. Yeah, yeah. I've also heard that story from the Nath Panthis. And in their version of it, Shiva says, you go learn from them because that's all you're fit for.
Good one.
Yeah. So I'm like, why did you have to say
Mm.
that? Why did you have to create this artificial
Supremacy.
schism?
Yeah.
And like, I've never heard any Hindu bash Buddhism or Jainism or something like that unless
Yes.
provoked. But the reverse is not
Because
always.
we
Jains
we
are better at
believe
that.
Buddhism and Jainism to be part of the Hindu family. I think we believe.
Well, I think we have to
Yes.
drop that belief. It's a very comforting belief, but it's not really true. I keep hearing, Jains, of course, Meenakshi Jain, and then the Jain
The
father and
father.
son
Yes.
lawyer duo
Vishnu.
who are fighting
Vishnu.
for us. Yeah, yeah, but like I said, like, yes, of course, it is true that we intermarry and we don't have any we don't have any animus towards each other. But you'll never find a single Jain Acharya say that Jainism is Hinduism.
Correct.
They very distinctively say that they are
Absolutely.
different. So I don't have any problem with that, by the way. I have absolutely no problem with that. Hindus had no problems with Jews because Jews didn't try to
Absolutely.
proselytize. Jews didn't try to, they're also monotheists, but they never
They're
forced all those
the only
beliefs on us and
monotheists
tried
who
to get
don't
us.
try to convert, actually.
Correct. Or force their
Yes.
beliefs on others. Or force their beliefs on others. Like, they don't do that either by conversion or by violence. So we never had a problem with them. In fact, the first time a Jew was killed in India, it was, in 1800 years they were in India. And that was a Pakistani terrorist who came to Bombay and killed
The
the Jews in the
Taj.
Jewish
Yes.
community. Yeah. Like, here is another interesting story. The When the nation of Israel was formed, the first session of parliament, the first resolution they passed was thanks to God because their exile is now over. And after 1000 years, 800 years, they are back in the Holy Land, they're back in their
Yes.
homeland. The second resolution they passed was to thank India for being the only major country not to have
I
anti
didn't know
Semitic
that. I didn't
violence.
know that. Wonderful.
Yes, many people don't know that. They
And
remember.
they've always been with India
They
throughout.
remember. They remember that this was the
Yes.
one country where we were never harassed or goods seized, and like, so. Or look at the Parsis; they are so
Absolutely.
different in every ways. But do we have any
No, no.
problem with them? We have problem with basically two religions. Those people
I
know which are those two. Actually, we don't have a
They
problem.
have
They
a
have a
problem.
problem with us. Now it has become
And the
our
moment,
problem.
because now we're pushing back, that has become a problem.
Yeah, because that's not
We're
what we are
not
supposed
supposed
to
to,
do.
yeah.
No, we are supposed to be meek and different. What
Yes.
Swamiji said, no, we must hide our
Yes.
identity. The minute they express any
Yes.
alarm, we must immediately
Yes.
backtrack. And I'm like, those days are over. It's not going to
Absolutely.
happen.
True.
I am very clear when I say I don't want your approval. I don't want to be liked by you. I don't want your approval. I don't need to be admired by you. I don't need you to feel comfortable with me. I need you to be uncomfortable with me. I need you to be disconcerted with me. And many of them
Yeah.
are.
Of course they are.
They kind of
Right.
like, yeah, they kind of like, this is different. Yeah, this is not the usual Hindu
Who's
spiritual guru.
apologetic?
Like yeah,
Sri Guru,
I'm like, yeah.
we were talking about, rituals and practices, which are very, very important and part of our, our tradition. And like I said, there are people who are watching us who may not have a complete understanding of it, nevertheless are interested to know. So, how does
One minute. Why is it the responsibility only of the gurus or the experts to teach? What is the individual Hindu's responsibility to educate himself or herself about their culture? Every time they say that we were not, ठीक है, I understand that. What is your responsibility towards your culture? What is
that's a
your
very good
initiative
question.
about these matters? Yeah. Why are we always blaming only the gurus and the older generation? Now, I agree that the older generation, the last two older generations, my parents' generation and the generation after that, are the most useless generation of
I
Hindu
agree.
parents. Like, because they handed us over hand and bound hand and foot to the
Hmm.
secularists. So their culpability is immense and unforgivable. I'm saying that openly. But why is there this argument that the Hindu individual does not have any responsibility to educate themselves about their culture and their religion? It is an appalling thing. Why are we outsourcing everything to Sarkar and see, even if we wish to, our temples are not free. So our community funds are locked up. We can't set up schools. We can't set up institutions. We can't set up colleges. We don't, where is our community funds? Our community funds are completely stolen. So this is the most important issue in one sense in front of Hindu society, and that is getting the
Yeah.
temples free from the grip
Yeah.
of the government. Freeing Hindu temples is the vital. The playing field is not even if we wish to educate people, where? Even if we wish to educate people, where? Even if we wish to hold classes, where? Everything is done in a sporadic manner. Chinmaya Mission has Bala Yoga classes, and like, it's all individual and under resource
Absolutely. And you
constraint.
can count Ramakrishna Mission, Chinmaya Mission, maybe, couple of such or what one could call organizations really, who have been doing
That is not how we were
yes,
organized. Our society was always
around a
around the
temple.
temple.
Exactly.
That is natural and
Yeah.
organic.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.